With our run cycle now complete, what we're going to do is spend the time looking at another animation to get an understanding of ways we can possibly enhance our work. Let's hit play in this scene. It's 42 in your scenes folder. Now, as we do, we can see, alright, we have this character doing a point animation or aim. So what we're going to do is look into ways we can possibly enhance this even further, just to give us, again, an understanding of ways we can improve our end result. So where can we take this from here? Well, for one, looking at the upper body, okay, it's showing some decent weight, but I think one thing we can add is possibly adding some recoil on the step to improve the weight that we see in this animation. So if we go ahead and stop the animation and select our center of gravity control, we'll go to our graph editor under Window, Animation Editors, and we'll select the graph editor, and then we can just frame our keys. Okay, so let's focus on our translate Y. And here's our problem here. As the character steps in, he just stops after frame 22. When what we'd really want is for him to add a little bit more recoil all the way to the end of the animation. So let's go ahead and just scrub back and forth and get a feel of how we can do that. For the recoil, since he's moving down, we'll want him to move up. So let's say on about frame 27 we go there and we have him move up just slightly, not much at all. The recoil should match the intensity. If you were, let's say, jumping off a platform onto a floor, then you'd want definitely more recoil. But since he's just stepping in, but given his weight, and we want to keep in mind his weight as well, we'll animate accordingly. Okay, so that's looking pretty nice. And then what I also like to do on with animations for games is just make sure that all of the keys are really going to the end of the animation range. So we'll have it go all the way to frame 31, and we'll just drop the character to finish the recoil. And again, not as much. It's not going to be as intense as we've dropped them, or as we've have for this key on frame 22. Okay, great. So there's our recoil, and notice the weight that we've now added. Okay, now that looks much better. Okay, let's go ahead and see how we can further improve this. If we were to go back to the graph editor, we do have the option of actually offsetting our keyframes from a whole number frame. So this can really add some nice subtleties to your work and really improve your timing and spacing. So in this case, on frame 22 where the character lands, let's say if we offset the key so it's not exactly on 22, but again not on 21. So if we have our key selected, we can go to, or even with our key not selected, we could go to time snap and toggle this switch off. So now if we select the key on frame 22, hold shift, and let's say move it a few more frames down, notice we're able to offset our value, and again that might further improve what we end up with. And I think I like that much better. If we were to minimize and look at this, even hide our curves, we can see this. Great. Alright, so now the upper body is looking much better than it did before. Alright, well, with this now done, what we're going to do is move on to the next lesson where we'll look into another area we can possibly enhance this sequence.